Welcome back, Middle Age Grind. And today I want to share another book review. And the reason why I put these things out here, I read a lot of books and a lot of articles, and I talk about them to help people. And I wouldn't put something out there that I really didn't think was worthwhile. And I want to share the book with you and the author today. Arthur C. Brooks is the author. From Strength to Strength, and I got this at our public library. I actually seen this gentleman. He was on George Kamel, who works for Dave Ramsey, on his show, talking about his new book, which this was only written a couple of years ago. And I went to the library, and that one was checked out. And this guy is basically a professor. He works at Harvard Business School, and he's dedicated his life on studying happiness and what makes people happy. And part of this book is, and I'm going to share some highlights with you, and I'm a little more than halfway done, so I'm probably still going to get some nuggets, but I wanted to share this with you guys and see what you think. And and read it. And if you'd read this book, I'd be happy to discuss that in the comments or via email or whatever, or what you think. And basically what it's about, this is about how we change as we get older. According to this guy, we have two different forms of intelligence, right? The first form of intelligence is what we would consider street smarts, or just common knowledge, or just, it's called fluid intelligence, right? It's stuff we pick up at a young age, stuff what we consider like IQ, that kind of thing. And that tends to peak around age 40, late 30s to early 50s, and it actually declines. That intelligence kind of goes down dramatically. But the second type of intelligence, which begins to peak again, instead of going to decline, it starts to go up at age 40-ish, is crystallized intelligence. And without getting too definition thing for you, the way he explains it is, fluid intelligence would be that you know that tomatoes are fruit. Crystallized intelligence would be you know not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. Okay, does that kind of make sense a little bit? One is general knowledge, the other one is wisdom, right? Kind of like book smarts versus street smarts is what I got out of it. And he talks about some famous people in history. Darwin, Mozart. They had breakthrough discoveries, as most breakthrough kind of inventions or innovative things happen at a very young age. And they were both pretty young when they kind of acclaimed notoriety. And they both kind of thought of themselves as failures, even though they weren't, because they never achieved that level of success again. That level of success that they had. And I thought about this, and he doesn't mention them, but think about inventors or people who've done stuff even recently. Bill Gates, Microsoft, Steve Jobs, Apple, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. You know, they kind of have these breakthrough inventions when they're young. And, to have something like that twice, it's almost impossible. And it goes into the everyday people where when we're young in our careers, we're doing great things. It's quick, it's exciting, and then you get these accolades. Think about sales and awards, recognition. And then as you get a little bit older, sometimes those things kind of begin to fade away, and you're constantly striving to be that ultra achiever, and you get depressed. And I want to read this to you here. This is in the first chapter. This is there's three doors you can go through in life. You can deny the facts and rage against decline, setting yourself up for frustration and disappointment. That's number one. Number two, you can shrug in and give into the decline and experience your aging as an unavoidable tragedy. Or number three, you can accept what you got to this point won't work to get you to the future that you need to build some new strengths and skills. Okay? And that's the whole part of this book, is the second curve in life. You know, not only in retirement, I think, but even at the end of your career, you need to be more of a kind of a teacher and a mentor, and that helps you do your job still. And there's one profession he talks about that actually gets better as you age. Like the peak point is like 35 years after you graduate, and that's authors of historical books. Think about, I've read some of these books in the past, but he passed away, I think, last year. David McCullough wrote some brilliant books. There was a documentary on him. I mean, a lot of American history, Washington Adams, he covered that. 1776, he wrote that. He wrote a lot of these books later in life, and I remember seeing him. He lived in Massachusetts or something. He had a little shed out in his field, and he would go on his typewriter and typed up, even before he died. And he still had a bunch of projects on the way. And what he talks about in this book is that, think about it, as the older we get, it's kind of like when you have this knowledge base, and as we get older, we tend to articulate better, right? We tend to be able to tell stories better over time. And this is kind of what we need to morph into in that second phase of our lives. We're not going to be typically on the cutting edge of technology necessarily, or coming up with these bright new ideas all the time when we're getting older. But it's taking that knowledge we've acquired and kind of fine-tuning it and helping others along the way. Think about our kids and grandkids, if you have grandkids or kids, but I don't have any grandkids yet, a long way down the line, but I have 4 kids. I talk about it all the time. And part of why I do these videos is that one day they watch them now, but I don't know if they understand all the concepts. And I'm talking about dividend investing and retirement. It can be kind of boring, but maybe when they get older, they go back and look at this years later and say, oh, I want to see what Dad had to talk about this. And maybe some of this stuff makes sense. But and Arthur Brooks is his name. He has a new bestseller. He wrote with Oprah. And you could say this and that, whatever, but if you write a book with Oprah, I mean, you come a long way. So he's written several books. This is the first one I've read. And I'm probably I tend to do that. I find an author I like, and I read pretty much everything they wrote. So far, so good in this book. And it teaches you some things, I think, that can maybe help you in your later life, and where you are now and where you want to go. So just like I was sharing that with you, and I'll continue to do that. And with that said, I'll see you next time on the Middle Age Grind.